Alright everyone, I wanted to record this really quickly to show you all how we can record our lectures through PowerPoint and upload them to Canvas. The nice thing is I have this written here for Windows PC, but since we all have the same license for Microsoft Office through Troy, this should work on both PC and Mac. So what you're going to do is you're going to open up your PowerPoint like you would if you were just going to go to a normal lecture. And it should default right here to the home button. But what you're going to want to do is go over here to the slideshow button at the very top. And that's going to give you all of these options here. We're interested in this record slideshow option right here. So we're going to click the little down arrow underneath that. And we're going to click record from beginning. And once we do that, it's going to open up a different window that looks like this. So two things to keep in mind. You have to have a microphone in order to record audio portions on top of your PowerPoints. If you're recording from a laptop, it should have a built-in microphone and you shouldn't have any problems. If you're recording from a desktop, though, you will need to go get a microphone from somewhere. I ordered mine from Amazon. They're fairly cheap on Amazon. You can get some decent quality USB plug-in microphones on Amazon. You may be able to go down to Walmart. They may have them. So when you're opening up this window, this is not recording yet. You have a little bit of time in order to get ready. Something to keep track of right here is this little menu down at the bottom that has all of these colored squares. This is a pen and this is a highlighter, and then you can select which color you want, and you can draw on your slides while you're recording things. The last thing before we start recording, this recording only allows you to move forward through the slideshow. So if during your normal lectures you would discuss something on one slide, move to the next slide, bring up something else, and then go back to the previous slide in order to cement a point in their minds, you can't do that if you're recording this way. You would have to take that first slide that you would normally go back to, copy it, and then paste a copy of it after the second slide so you can progress forward and it will just keep showing them the same repeated slide however many times you need it. You may have to play around with this. And also before we start recording, there is a clear menu right up here at the top, upper right hand side. And if you say something you didn't mean to say, or if you go back and play it and you find out you garbled your words, you can click on this and you can either clear recordings on the current slide that you're on, and then you can re-record just that slide, or you can clear recordings from the entire PowerPoint. Now, I wouldn't necessarily recommend this unless you wanted to redo the entire lecture. But also note, once you click these buttons, it does not give you a prompt asking whether or not you're sure you want to record the audio. Once you click that, the audio is gone from either that slide or the entire PowerPoint. But to get started here, what you're going to do is you're going to click the record button, and it's going to give you a countdown. We can see what this looks like. And as soon as that countdown is done, it starts recording audio for this slide. And you can progress slides by doing one of two things. You can click the next button right here, or you can hit your right arrow key. So if we click on this, it will take us to the next slide. And down here at the bottom, you can see it immediately started again. Now, there's a small delay between slides from when it stops recording the previous slide to when it starts recording the next slide. And since I spoke over that transition between the slides, when I replay this to you, you'll see there's a little gap. So as you progress slides, you may delay talking for 1 or 2 seconds until you see down here in the bottom left corner that it's recording audio for those slides. So we move on to the next slide here, and now I'm going to show you what you can do with these markers at the bottom. If you were to click the pen and then you were to click some type of color here, you can click any color you want. And if you wanted to draw on your slides, if you were the type of person who would normally diagram things on the board, this allows you the ability to draw, and it will animate it as you run through the slideshow. So you move on, and now if you look down here in the bottom left, you'll see that we're on slide 3 of 3. The way recording in PowerPoint works, as soon as you hit the last slide, if we were to go forward here, it will immediately stop recording. So up here in the upper left, you can see it has a pause button. We are still recording. If we go to that last slide now, or the end of the PowerPoint, it immediately stops recording. So if you usually get to that very last, this is the end of the PowerPoint, the black screen, it will no longer be recording on your computer. So if you do talk over that screen in your classes, you may consider adding a final blank slide to the end of the PowerPoint that just says this is the end of the lecture, and you can keep talking over it. And then to end the recording, you either hit the stop button here or you use the forward button to go to the very end of the slide. Now once you're done, all you have to do is go to this upper right button, close out of this. And now we have our 3 slides, and you'll notice in the bottom right of each slide there is a little speaker symbol. If we mouse over that, we can see we can play the audio for each individual slide. We can adjust the volume of each slide. But I'll show you now what happens if we stay in this slideshow. And we're going to go ahead and save this. If we stay in this slideshow and now we go to play from beginning, this is what the students would hear if they downloaded it and clicked this button. And as soon as that countdown is done, it starts recording audio for this slide. And you can progress slides by doing one of 2 things. You can click the next button right here, or you can hit your right arrow key. So if we click on this, it will take us to the next slide. And down here at the bottom, you can see it immediately started again. Now, there is a small delay between slides from when it stops recording the previous slide to when it starts recording the next slide. And since I spoke over that transition between the slides, when I replay this to you, you'll see there's a little gap. So as you progress slides, and that's what I was talking about. There was that slight dip out in audio when I went from the first slide to the second slide. The only other thing to keep in mind about this whole process, if you go and you look at the file size of your PowerPoint after you record the lecture on top of it, for a 3-slide PowerPoint, this is a very, very large file size. And that's just due to the fact that we've added audio to it. That is about probably 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes worth of audio. So if you're going to record a whole 60-minute lecture or a whole hour and 15-minute lecture or a 40-minute lecture, these file sizes will get quite large. So keep that in mind. But once this is done, you save it like normal. You go and you upload it to Canvas. The students can download it. They can play the slideshow from the beginning, and they can listen to you lecture. So I do hope that this has been helpful for you. And if you run into any issues, if you're trying this out, just shoot me an email, and I will try to help you as I can. Good luck, everyone.